Y'all, I cannot wait to show you guys this. I can't wait. Can't wait any longer. What's going on, Cog Squad? Jason over here at Cog Hill Farm. I'm gonna tell you guys, I had a video planned to do today, but I was gonna need some help doing it. And if you follow us on our live streams, you know that MaryCarl had the flu. Now Brooke's got it. She's laying down in the bed. She don't feel good at all. I'm fighting it off. Knock on wood, I'm fighting it off. So what I had planned today, I couldn't do by myself. And I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Mr. Greg's not finished with the driveway. The peacock's DNA test haven't came in yet. What am I gonna do? And Brooke said, the party garden. Do the party garden. And I was like, you know what? That is a great idea. I've been wanting to give you guys a tour of, she calls it the party garden. It's actually a parterre garden. And trust me, that is new to me. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what a parterre garden was 3 months ago, because I didn't. But I do now. So I decided that you're right. I'm gonna give you guys a tour of the side garden. The garden's on the side of the house, off our porch over here, that we've been working on for over a month, maybe 2 months now. I can't exactly remember. I'm gonna be honest with you, this garden has taken 3 times longer than I anticipated. This was way harder than I initially thought. And during the time of us working on this garden, I thought I bit off more than I can chew, but now it was all worth it. As you guys can see, we have put a fence up here, just a simple 3-rail fence up here. This makes a defined entrance as to where we want you to go into the garden over here, which will eventually lead you into the potager garden, which will be on the back. That's our French kitchen garden. Also, we're gonna have it where this right here will lead you into the fruit orchard at some point, which you know is over here. And I'll show you guys the fruit orchard because I don't think you've seen it in a while. The number one thing that we haven't done yet is we haven't stained yet. We plan on staining the fence here. You'll see we got another fence back here, and then the rose swag post. All that we want to stain the same color as the post and all the woodwork that's on the barnuminium, so it'll all tie together and all just kind of just flow with each other. I also do want to put an archway here, more than likely, and I'm going to plant a rose bush on this fence over here, and I'm going to plant a rose bush on this fence over here, and then let that rose bush climb that arbor. That should give it just a beautiful, beautiful framework there. And I'm a rose junkie. I absolutely love roses. So as we're walking into the parterre garden, probably the first thing you notice are the 3 green squares of grass. And that's just part of a parterre garden. It's basically a French formal garden. It's clean lines, it's squares, there's no curves to it, and it's just a more formal type garden. Now, what I like about it is, and this is what I was trying to do, this is my side porch over here, which I absolutely love. When I'm relaxing here at the house, and that's not often, but when I am relaxing here at the house, 90% of the time I'm out here. I'm either on the grill, I got the kitchen sinks over here, I got a little mini fridge over here, I got speakers out here, I can relax, I can do whatever I want out here. Just, it's so tranquil. You can hear it's really, really quiet. Every now and then you'll hear a rooster or whatever, but this is my getaway over here. I love this space, and I just wanted it to be an extension of the porch over here. That's it. I wanted to be able to just walk out. I didn't want to have to worry about walking around shrubs or trees or whatnot. I just wanted to seem like this was basically one large porch area, and I think I accomplished that with this design. Now, I did have Tracy from Just to Get Farms who helped me with all this. We brainstormed and came up with the ideas for all this, and so I had her to help me with this. And also I had Petal from the Past, who has a similar design at their nursery two to go over there and go by. So I had some help with this. This didn't just all come from my head at all. This all can be walked on. The grass can be walked on. We can come out here and have a picnic. MaryCarl can come out here and play with our birds out here on these spots. It's just, to me, it's cozy, it's comfortable, it's low maintenance. I didn't want to have to worry about having to tend to a whole bunch of things out here. I just wanted it to be my relaxing spot where I could just come outside. If I want to cut the music on, if I wanted to listen to a football game, this is where I wanted to come. And that's why you're not going to see a ton of plants in here other than basically the roses. If you guys remember, we planted a rose swag and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 original poles, and we got the metal cable going in between them, and we planted American Pillar, which is a springtime bloomer. It is a rambling rose, which is going to take off. It's not going to be no time, and that rose is going to climb up this pole, which is about 10 foot tall, go across this swag all the way down, and it's just going to be one giant, beautiful, beautiful rose swag throughout this whole section here. But we ended up, guys, adding 2 more poles because I wanted it to make this turn. So the rose swag now is going to go this way, 2 more poles, and to me it just gives the illusion, and you'll hear me talk about this all the time, about garden rooms. This is going to be like its own room. This is like Jason's side porch. Sit down, relax, have friends over or whatever, room over here. And it's going to feel like a room because we're going to have this rose swag here. This is going to be like a wall here. Just think of a room in a house. And then it's going to turn. You're going to have a wall here. You can see we put another 3-rail fence here as well. And look what the 3-rail fence already did. Look at this. Before, you can see I got a water box over here that controls water going to the barn. It controls water going to the house. I got a spigot over here. I got an electrical box over here. All that has disappeared now. And also look how it makes this room turn right here. So we got another wall here, right? And look what else it does. So if you were to come into this first garden room, the Parterre garden, look what you're gonna do. You're gonna come here. Well, you can't keep going straight. Where do you have to go next? You gotta turn here, and look, you can see the gravel pathway. It's gonna turn, and then this is gonna lead you into the potager garden. This is gonna be our French country kitchen garden right here, and that will be the next room and the next project we get started on. Now, getting back to this 3-rail fence is I'm gonna plant another rose on this fence. So far, I got a spring bloomer right here. So the American Pillar Rose is a spring bloomer. It's gonna put on a show that your eyes won't believe in the spring, because that's what spring bloomers do. Now you have repeat blooming roses. Now a repeat blooming rose is gonna bloom several times a year, but it's not gonna be as big and bold, as beautiful as a spring bloomer. But the trade-off is you're gonna get multiple blooms a year. It's still gonna be gorgeous, still gonna be beautiful, and they're still worth doing, because that's what I'm thinking about doing on this fence here. I'm thinking about putting a repeat bloomer here, and I'm thinking about putting a repeat bloomer on that fence. I do have the rose that I got off the side of the road, which I don't know what that rose is, but I'm 98% certain that is a spring bloomer. So I have it as well, and that is a climbing rose. I feel certain that's a climbing rose. And I can too have that option of planting it on this fence too, and I may do that. But I'm really leaning towards finding a great repeat bloomer. That's what I'm wanting. Now I do have options. I do have lots of options. I have the option of planting plants inside the rose swag in between each pole and leaving one section open. And then that would give you the visual, especially if we lined it straight up with this pathway and continuous pathway out, that would give you the visual illusion that this is the way to go into the fruit orchard. I will say this though, this project was a lot harder than I anticipated. The main thing is I'm terrible at geometry. I really am. And so when you're doing a formal garden like this, it's a lot of squares and rectangles and a lot of straight lines. So everything needs to be kinda precise. And I'm not good with precise. And for some reason, I didn't even think about it. You know, I'm thinking, oh man, 3 squares of grass and then rock? This is gonna be easy. Well, it wasn't. I really had a time figuring this all out. Main thing was finding a starting point and using that same point on each one. Then we used this metal edging right here that's 4 inches thick. Well, 4 inches tall would stick up way too tall, even with, you know, with this grass, because sod isn't but 1 inch thick, and I wanted it to be halfway level. So I had to bury this edging 2 inches in the ground. But y'all, this ground was hard as a rock. Oh man, we haven't had any rain. Then this over here, people have been driving on it, equipment have been driving on it. Just, it was so darn hard that I ended up getting a pick and just trying my best, pulling a string and just having to take a pick and dig down in there. But all in all, I'm so glad that I did it. Now, as for the sod right here, once we got the squares laid out, Brooke came in. We had a load of topsoil dumped behind us. Mr. Greg brought us some topsoil. And then we came in and put about a 2-inch layer of topsoil in these beds and then put the sod on top. And that's why it is pretty level all the way through, right down through here. Plus, you know, I don't want you to walking through here. If you're walking barefoot, I don't want you to hit that metal edging. So I made sure the grass was a little bit taller than that metal edging. So I don't want anybody to have no stump toe, because is there anything worse than stumping your toe? Man. So probably the next thing you noticed is the lights. We strung these string lights up here, and yeah, I love it. At nighttime, it is just so beautiful out here, just tranquil, and I just can picture the roses up here and then the lights. It's gonna be gorgeous. It really, really is. This is gonna be such a tranquil place to come to and sit out here in the evening times and just relax. And these are your LED lights. It's actually got a LED strip in the middle. It's got the plastic on the outside, so there's no heat whatsoever coming off these lights. And they're 100% outdoor and weatherproof. Another thing that I made sure I did is I made sure that this ground is running this way, that there's a slope to it. I don't want a heavy rain to come and not have it sloped right and then have water coming back towards the house. And we've had one huge rain. We got nearly 3 inches of rain. This area stayed just like this and was perfect. No issues whatsoever. Now I do have options out here, and I probably will do this over time, and that is I can get some big pots and I can put them in a corner here, and I can have a plant here with some herbs in it. We can have it there. We can put giant pots in the middle, or have one giant something in the middle of that green square. So we got a lot of options. We got this is almost like a blank slate pretty much. You know, we could do whatever we wanted to here. We can put a water feature here. We could put, you know, whatever. We could put a statue of Peaches and Moody here. So we have tons of options from this point going forward. Now, let me go show you guys the fruit orchard, because I know you haven't seen it in a while. I will say this, as I'm walking over to the fruit orchard, we did get a phone call from the sod farm, and they said that they would cut us 3 more pallets of sod if we needed it. Yes. So the fruit orchard is not going to look super beautiful right now because we've had one really, really cold spell, and fruit trees are deciduous, so they're starting to lose their leaves a little bit. But I want to show you guys how much it's grown and changed since we planted this thing. You guys were with us when we planted this around February. So let's look. Right here you can see one of my Asian pears and how it's starting to grow down the wire. I'm thinking just the lack of rain we had this year has really stunted some of these fruit trees' growth. I know Asian pears like a lot of water, but it's still working out perfectly. And look at this one. Look how good it looks. And you can see it's starting to come on down. I got this one bud here and I got this bud here. So one of these will go on this top wire right here. And I'll just keep this trimmed. And that's gonna go down there and that's gonna go down there. So when I come out here to pick pears, look at this. Look, I don't have to worry about no ladder. Look at this. Everything's right here. And all that energy's focused on these few limbs I got running down here. So don't let it fool you. This should be loaded with huge pears. Got another Asian pear right here. You can see the leaves are starting to drop. And again, this one right here, the main was cut here. So I turn this one into my main here, and then I'll make this limb that's gonna go down this way, and this one will be this one going this way, and I'll keep this one cut up top. Now here we have our persimmons who have gotten bit. You can see right there, but I'm doing it the same way. You can see here we're going to grow our persimmons down this limb, going to grow it down that wire, and then again my leader was cut here from the nursery, so I'm turning this one into my main leader going up to the top, and then I'll split it up there, and then this one's going to go down here, and I should have one coming off this that I'll eventually grow down there. I got another persimmon there, and then I got a pear down there. But the apples is what I'm most impressed with. I don't know if you guys remember how small these apple trees were, but man, they are looking amazing. But look at these apple trees, look at this. Y'all, these apple trees were knee-high to a grasshopper. And look how beautiful they are. I'm loving the way the apple trees look. And I've been spraying these guys with basically neem oil and copper. That's pretty much it. I haven't had any pest issues really. Only thing I've been seeing is like this right here. You can see I'm getting a fungus every now and then. And so just spraying them once a month or every other month with neem oil and copper, and that's pretty much it. Now, coming up very, very soon, I'll spray it with a dormant oil to overwinter it. And but the temperatures have got to be just right for dormant oil. You don't want to do it when it's too hot, and you don't want to do it when it's too cold. Another one of my apple trees, and here's the last one right here. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now coming on down here is the fig row, and look at this. I know you guys say, Jason, you repeat yourself. I just want to make sure people know this. If you're buying a fig, I suggest buying 1 gallon figs. These were 1 gallon figs, y'all, back in what, February when we planted them? 1 gallons. And look, and this thing's taller than me. Look at this. Figs, if you put figs in the right spot and give them what they want, they will take off. We've actually gotten a lot of figs off our fig trees already. That's the LSU purple. This is the LSU purple. Again, look at the size of it. And you can see, I'm trying to show you guys how I'm cutting these. I'm keeping the middle open. We have a good airflow. And I'm gonna have about 5 to 6 main canes coming up on my fig trees. And that's what I'm trying to do. Look at our blueberries, look at this. Look at this, y'all, isn't it beautiful? Our blueberries are starting to get established and take off. Planted those late, and the rest of them, I had these two I bought, and I planted them a little bit later. But look at the rest of them. That one, this one were all transplants from Tracy at Just Dig It Farms. She pulled them up from her place because she redid her fruit orchard and didn't need these, and asked them did I want them. And I said, heck yeah. And every one of them has made it. Every single one of them. So I'm thinking late next year, they may start looking like real blueberry bushes similar to this. Fingers crossed, right? Now, this row here. This is my blackberries. I had so many people asking me, why in the world are you planting blackberries? Those things are just gonna go wild, they're gonna take over. You know, you can't control them. It's gonna take over your property. And I was like, well, just wait. Just watch how I'm growing these Kiowa blackberries. Now this is the Kiowa blackberry. It does have thorns on it. It does have thorns on it. But it produces a gorgeous, huge blackberry. And the way we're growing it with this floor cane suppression method, this one row will produce me estimated 45 pounds of blackberries. This is another 45 pounds. That's another 45 pounds. That's another 45 pounds. So you can do the math. And look, they're not going crazy. They're not taking over. And when they produce berries, look at this, y'all. Much like my fruit trees, I can just come and just pick my blackberries right here. I don't have to worry about those awful thorns. They're all gonna just be hanging down through here. My bottom row is the same way. They're gonna be hanging down through here. And it's just gonna be awesome because just like the fruit trees, I'm suppressing all the growth and energy into just a few limbs or canes, and where we're talking about blackberries. So these canes are gonna put on a show when it's time to fruit. And if you missed this video when I trimmed these and got them growing on this trellis system, I'll try to put a link to that video down below as well. And look how much room I got left. I could continue blackberries all the way down. I could do something else. I could do muscadines. I could do maybe kiwi. There's several options I have here. Over here, I'm going to continue this with blueberries. I feel certain I'm just going to make this row all blueberries here. And then my apple trees, I'm going to go back with another Arkansas black right there. And I got a spot for 2 more apple trees down there. And I'll figure out what I want to plant down there when it's time. But definitely going back with the Arkansas black. I got another pear tree that can go right there. I tried an Ayers pear twice, totally failed with it. Both of my Ayers did not make it, so I may go with something else there, maybe a moon glow. I don't know, but I want a European pear to go with the Asian pears that I got growing. I get asked a lot, what about peaches? What about plums? What about citrus? Well, number one, we are in dead middle of peach country. We're in one of the largest peach producing areas in the United States. There's peach farms all around us. So peaches are not hard to come by here. They're really not. But there are a couple of peaches that I would like to grow. And so let me show you guys where we're planning on growing those peaches. So as you guys know, this is my fruit orchard, which is on a slant. I got this terrace system with these swales. And so I got, I got a terrace here and a swale, then the row, swale, terrace, swale, and so forth and so forth all the way down. Well, Tracy came over at Just Dig It Farm and said, look, Jason, look right here. You already have a mound built up here. Why don't we make this your stone fruit, which is peaches and plums and apricots, all that stone fruit, and I can plant that right through here. Now they got some hybrids where they're crossbreeding those trees and they're doing very well in our area. So that's my plan here, is to put my stone fruit on this row here. So that's when you're going to see our peach trees. Stone fruit can be kind of hard to grow, and that's the reason why Jason from Petals from the Past didn't throw the stone fruit on me right off the bat. He gave me options that were great for beginner fruit growers, and so that's what we went with. So now I got a little bit of experience under my belt. We may add some stone fruit this year, if not, maybe next year. Now I do plan on adding muscadines, which is a native grape to our area, because we have a hard time growing grapes here because we don't have enough chill hours. And kiwi, we can actually grow kiwi in our area, which grow on a huge vine as well. So I got 2 things that I want to do at some point, and it may be this year, it may not be this year, all depending on where we are and what we're doing at the time, because we still got a lot that needs to be done. But all in all, Up until recently, the fruit orchard was my favorite spot here on the farm. I love the fruit orchard. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I am proud of myself for accomplishing this and keeping it alive and going. I really am. This is something that I couldn't have done at my other farm. It was too small, I didn't have enough sun, and I couldn't produce a fruit orchard like this whatsoever. Now, the Parterre garden is really now one of my favorite areas here on the garden.